pick yourself up and get yourself ready, because we've got Newcastle on Sunday. And Newcastle are not going to come and be any kind of pushover. To get to this point, they beat Nottingham Forest away in a penalty shootout, a result that now looks much better than it did at the time. It just looked like, oh, well, it's Nottingham Forest, but now it's, well, they're third in the league. Then they beat AFC Wimbledon at home, beat Chelsea at home, beat Brentford at home. Then they beat Arsenal over 2 legs by 4-0, 2-0 in both legs. Very impressive displays. Isak absolutely causing nightmares for Saliba and Gabriel. So their run has been difficult. Like they've had no easy path. Their league form is maybe some cause for concern for them, Carol. They've lost 4 of their last 7, including a 2-0 at Anfield. They come into the game with injuries and suspensions, a major part of Eddie Howe's final planning. No Hall, no Botman, no Anthony Gordon, no Jamal Lascelles, but he wouldn't be playing anyway. But that is 3 starters who are missing for that. So how do you view Newcastle coming in? And what have you made of them lately? Because they've obviously had this kind of dip in the league.
I do still find them a really fascinating team to watch, I'll be honest. Like, I sometimes I look at not the way that they're playing, but like the team, the names on the team sheet and all the rest of it. And you can see that like it's really exciting. There's a real potential good future there, strong future if they could add 1 or 2 to it, that sort of thing. And other times, after they've made a couple of subs, I look at the players out on the pitch and I think, like, how are you anywhere near European places? How are you even going to West Ham and picking up a win, you know, when you end up with, I don't know, let's say like Asula is coming off the bench in the last few games when Longstaff is still a go-to player to start midfield games or come on, when Jacob Murphy's best ever season of his career is like really necessary for you to be in this point, that kind of thing. Dan Burn at centre-back, like, these aren't players who, generally speaking, you would look at and think, yeah, you play for a team who can compete for trophies and be in European football. But they are, and all of those players are playing really important roles. Like, to one extent or another, not all of them. Like, Dan Burn is obviously much more of a starter than Sean Longstaff, for example. All of these players are playing really important roles, and I think that that's probably my biggest takeaway for Newcastle at the minute this year, this Newcastle, is that Eddie Howe has still got really good buy-in from them. That even if they're not always playing, let's say, on a technical level, how they have done in previous parts of seasons, they've got such good understanding of the role in the team. They've got really good identifiable tactical approach that players in different positions all understand what each other have to do. They're just a very, very well-coached team, I think. Whether or not you think that that's the best use of the players or the best style or whatever it is, they're still coached in a particular way to play a certain way, and they do that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That, like, I would never disagree with that side of it. Like, whether or not Eddie Howe is good enough to win them the major trophies is a completely different conversation to whether or not he coaches his team well to play the way he wants them to play. He clearly does coach them very well to play the way he wants to play. They're very well disciplined, very well organized. You don't see them gift too many goals. Nobody comes away from a game against Newcastle overly joyous about what they've just experienced. Like, they're horrible to play against. They're physical, they're aggressive, they move the ball well, they move it quickly, they're direct, they've got pace in the areas you want pace, they've got quality in the area you want quality. And like you said, when you look at their best 11, you're probably thinking, hey, new goalkeeper, new centre-back, maybe one in midfield and a right winger. And all of a sudden, that's a potentially a title contending team if Botman gets back to his best and the 3 fullbacks, Livramento and Hall, develop. You've got Guimaraes, you've got Tonali, you've got Isak, who are, you know, high caliber players, especially Guimaraes and Isak. Maybe Lewis Miley develops into that midfielder to replace Jolie and whatever, but the depth isn't really there. Like the quality of depth, like you said, Longstaff, 21 appearances in the Premier League this season, 28 in all competitions. Asula, 15 in all competitions. Very raw. Now, if Callum Wilson isn't injured, he probably plays a lot less. But Callum Wilson is always injured, so you can't really use it as an excuse. They had to use Lloyd Kelly and Miguel Almiron a lot this season, 14 appearances each before January, when clearly he didn't want to because he binned them both off in January. So, he is getting whatever he can out of this group of players. And you'd like to see somebody step up as a secondary goal scorer, because in all competitions, you've got Isak on 22, then Gordon on 9, Barnes and Murphy on 5, Schär and Jolinton on 4, and then you've got a couple on 3 and a couple on 2. You'd like someone who's ideally at this point in the season on like 14 to 16, but Gordon's had a disappointing season. Barnes has had an injury-plagued season. And Jacob Murphy, while, as you said earlier, he's having the best season of his career, he's never been a big-time goal scorer. Like, he managed 10 in a season with Coventry on loan in League One in 15-16. And since then, it's been, he got 10 in all competitions the following year with Norwich playing in the Championship. But since then, since he got his move, 1, 0, 3, 1, 4, 3. And he had a loan spell at Sheffield Wednesday where he got 9. Like, he just hasn't been anywhere close to the level of goal scorer that you need if you're that type of team. He works hard, he helps, links well with Isak, and he makes intelligent runs and all that kind of stuff. But he is lacking the quality that you'd really want at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said there about the squad in general. It's an odd thing now that, we generally look at our fullbacks as being like, over the last few years, a real strong point for us. It looks like in this game specifically, it very much isn't going to be. There's at least going to be a decision to make that we'll speak about in a minute. And it so happens now that exact flank is so wide open now because neither team are going to have their first choice in that position. So in that exact area of the pitch. So that is a bit of an X factor, if you like, for the game as a whole. I mean, obviously, on a quality level, man-to-man, squad-to-squad, Liverpool have to be favourites. You look at league form, Liverpool are favourites. You look at a recent meeting between the two, Liverpool are favourites. But it's a cup final, and while we haven't got the title wrapped up in the league yet, we're obviously very close to it, which does make this less of the thing that we've been looking forward to. For Newcastle, this is like an all-time moment for them to end 6 decades worth of waiting.
It's 7 decades away.
7, is it now? I mean, I remember. I can't remember the number, but it's double the time that we were waiting for a Premier League title and more that they're looking for any kind of title, which is, insane if you think about it that way.
That's the thing, and like they've gotten close. Back in the 90s, they had the 2 seasons finishing runner-up. The first of which they were, well out in front and very much capitulated. In the 90s, they also had 2 FA Cup finals that they got to and lost both of. Once to Arsenal, once to United. Arsenal, who were completing a double, and United, who were completing a treble. So you can't really knock Newcastle for losing either of them. They got to the League Cup final a couple of years ago against United, and they'll probably feel disappointed about that one because both of them, I think, finished in the top 4 that season. But United were a bit of a fool's gold type of team that year. But 1955 was the last time they won anything. They won the FA Cup, beating Man City, funnily enough, 3-1. That's a long, long time to go without success. And this is everything. Bruno Gamero said, this is our World Cup final. This is our World Cup final. That's how they're viewing it. So they're going to be up for this. They know how much it means to the fan base, to the city. Newcastle's a club with a fan base waiting for a real team. Like, that fan base is exceptional, but they've been waiting for a real team to come along and deliver them success. They got real close in the 90s and haven't really done it since, other than obviously that one cup final with United. Now they feel like they're at the start of something. And when I speak to Newcastle fans, they all sort of say the same thing. If we can get one trophy, then we feel like it's the launch pad for us, that we can then go on. And they're not talking about replicating Chelsea under Abramovich, or even City with the Abu Dhabi money. Even though they've got that kind of money, they're just talking about, over the next 10 years, could we win a league title and a few domestic cups? And they'll all be thrilled. That to them, after most living Newcastle fans have never seen the team win anything at all. So, their idea of a golden era is literally a league title and a couple of domestic cups, and they'll all be thrilled by that. And they've been desperate for this success. And it's our job on Sunday to deny them, which feels cruel, because I've got a few Newcastle supporting mates, and I'd love for them to be happy, but not at my expense. So I want them to be miserable come Sunday night. You mentioned the quality gap. I would say when everybody's fit for both teams, I would take 3 of their players in our starting 11.
So let me guess.
Fire ahead.
Lewis Hall.
Yes.
Alexander Isak.
Yes.
And Bruno Gimenez.
Yes.
Yeah, that was difficult.
With Trent going, I'd also take Livramento. If I couldn't have Gimenez, I'd probably take Tonali. I'm not a huge Tonali fan, but I think he would play well in our midfield.
I like Tonali. I just don't necessarily like him hugely in Premier League terms, I'll be honest, after watching him for quite a while now here.
I certainly wouldn't pay what they paid for him. I think he's had a good season, though.
He's quite big jobs, but
I think there is a significant quality disparity in our favour. They have one excellent centre-back. Unfortunately for them, he's injured. Ollie is going bananas because she's a big fan of Sven Botman and wants him to play.
Let's talk about 2 things here, right? Because I think that they're going to essentially decide. I mean, they're not going to decide, because it could just be a Fabian Schär 35-yard free kick bounces into the corner, which decides it. But in pre-cup final terms, I think there are 2 glaring areas here which could be decisive. First of all is we know Liverpool are better, man-to-man, areas of the teams, blah, blah, blah. Liverpool are better. But Liverpool have been outfought and outstrengthed and outworked in more than one game recently, right? Even Southampton, to an extent, in that first half, with their energy and movement and sort of willingness to shift the defence and the midfield around, they basically outworked Liverpool, and that's why we needed to have a much bigger second half, because we didn't work hard.
All right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way. With the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.